Hi, I'm Nick Pierce, the Barefoot Prepper from Are You Ready Radio, and here with you, the Zombie Outpost as well. In this little segment of Tips in the Bunker 2.0, I've been going through some of my gear lately during our shelter-in-place situation to just kind of refill some of the things that I've used over the past season and just kind of do a quick inventory of things that need to be replaced, particularly expendable items. One of which is my hydration mix. Yes, hydration mix. I go through some of it quite often because um, oftentimes I have water with me. I'm just very active, and I just kind of even I don't drink enough water. Well, sometimes you'll find yourself in a pinch when you're just like, wow, I have heat exhaustion. I'm extremely dehydrated, and you need to rehydrate yourself quick. So um, I have some stuff here, and I'm going to show you how to make my homemade version of hydration mix, which is very important because if you dehydrate, you're you're in your own little fit hits the shan situation just to keep it clean. So, two simple ingredients and some prep that we have going on here. So, let's get started on this new segment of Tips in the Bunker 2.0 Hydration Mix. So, like I said, going through my gear, both my get home bag, my bug out bag, some of the base camp bins and stuff that I have and totes. Hydration mix is very important. I always like to make a lot of it, but I like to keep it in small little servings. Now, a couple things that you're going to need are the two key ingredients: salt, sugar, and of course, eventually, water. You're going to want something to keep the ingredients in, and I use food storage vacuum seal bags. And if you're looking for a great deal on these, when you come down to the market, when we reopen, make sure you check out Spring Valley Bags. They have these and a lot more of the essentials that you need for food storage. But you're also going to need some way to measure some of the ingredients, something to put them in, something to funnel them into. Of course, a food vacuum sealer, which you can get relatively cheap, a bunch of bags, which I prefer in a roll, or you can get the larger ones and cut them down yourself, as long as you have something delicate to cut them down with, and something to keep you entertained while you're waiting for the vacuum sealer to finish sealing your bag. But nonetheless, let's get started. Let's get a comfy chair to sit in that at least put me behind the table in front of the camera so I can show you how I make this scientific concoction that could save your life one day. And there we go. Not so much of a comfy chair, but then again, this isn't the best vacuum sealer either. You see, this was bought at St. Francis Thrift, which is notorious, and had I known it then, I would probably never have bought it there. They are notorious for not liking people with disabilities, opposite religions from what they are, and veterans. So, well, it is what it is. Until I replace it, I did get this for probably about $15. Of course, secondhand. But the most important thing is that it will get the job done. Now, before we started this segment, I did take the liberty of getting some of the bags that I cut down from large sheets. I get it by the roll. You can also buy it by a larger bag, cut them down yourself. I like having the flexibility of get larger. You can always make it smaller, as opposed to having something smaller and needing to make it larger. It doesn't always work that way. I separate it into different sections, which I will get into here in a little bit. And when I start filling these up, you'll see what that means. You're going to need, of course, my recipe. With the two ingredients that are the most essential part of this, you're going to need sugar and you're going to need salt. Now, the way to measure this out is with some measuring spoons. Now, you're going to need about 1/2 teaspoon of salt to 2 tablespoons of sugar. I have a little measuring cup here. You can do it in a big batch and mix it. I always prefer to do it individually and put each serving to cut down to put in your bag as I go along. So let's start with our salt. 1/2 teaspoon. Right in. We have 2 tablespoons of sugar. Now, the reason for this proportion is it replaces and helps your body regenerate electrolytes that you need, and it'll help you rehydrate faster. Right in. The reason for the funnel is to take this big thing of mixture here, and obviously they call it a funnel for a reason. Funnel it down into your portion of the bag. Now, as you see, this is kind of separated because I'm going to do multiple little packets to use in single servings. The other reason for the funnel is it protrudes beyond where I'm going to seal it, because the grains of the salt and sugar will interfere with creating a good seal in the bag. So you want to get it kind of beyond that point. Pack it down the best you can. And then we're going to move on to the next compartment. Again, we are going to go with 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 2 tablespoons of sugar. Now, as far as the amount of water that you need, you want to use anywhere from, and I know this sounds like it's kind of broad, but anywhere from 8 to 12 ounces of water. And you drop it in there into bottled water or any cup of water, and you mix it up, you shake it up in there, and then you drink it slowly. I also recommend, when you're trying to rehydrate yourself, that you use warm water, not necessarily hot water out of a tap, but just something kind of warm, room temperature or something, not necessarily cold water, because as your body is rehydrating, if you use cold water, it actually causes it. It could cause indigestion. It could cause a lot of difficulty in just your body processing it. So again, not necessarily hot water from the tap, but warm enough water so that your body is more receptive to it. And there we go. We're going to fill up these other compartments. As you see, that's why I have the bag separated. So when I put it into the sealer right here, I can seal all 4 compartments at once, and I have them separated in between, and I can just cut them apart. So we're going to fill that other compartment, and we'll be ready to seal this here in just a moment. We know it all doesn't look about the same, but it really is. We measured everything out. Some of the compartments are a little wider than others, and that's okay. We probably could have got another compartment out of this, but now we go to our sealer. Once we have everything in the individual compartments, make sure we just give it a good shake and a pack down, making little pinches and creases along the way always helps too. It keeps all the grains from bouncing out. Now, like I said, you want to make sure that there's no grains or anything where you're going to be sealing it, because that will interfere and let air in. It'll also let moisture in. And one thing we know about moisture, salt, and all that, it'll just clump. Once we get that ready to go, we get it lined up with our food sealer. Now, you notice that there's a lot of extra over here. What I like to do is just make a little fold somewhere and fold it back, almost like a little zigzag. And then I lay it in there to start sucking the air out. What that does is the suction from the sealer will keep most of the grain from coming in and clogging it. We'll get that closed up, ready to make our seal. And like I said, it takes a while for some of these food sealers to seal, so we brought ourselves something to do. Tonight, I'll be reading Philosophies of Art and Beauty while this seals. I already read the first 12 pages. Wow, it's done. Well, hold on, we don't want to lose our spot, because what I also like to do is make sure to that this is properly sealed. I will do a second seal just to make sure that, just in case there was any grain or two in the first seal, we have another seal that will overlap that. Now we just put it back on there, give it a little push, get our book back over in our reading area, and continue. Okay, it's done. There we go. 2 seals, and our hydration mix is pretty much almost ready. Now what we want to do is, the reason why we wanted something to delicately cut these apart, is to separate each one so we can put it in different sections of our bag. So, the best way to do that is with a pair of scissors. Just simply separate them like this. And now we have individual packets of our homemade hydration mix. That's why you have to seal them, one on each side of each pouch you're trying to make. If you only seal it on one side, then yes, it will spill out. So The other thing I like to do is to make it easier. I like to make a slightly diagonal cut towards the first seam, but not going through it. And of course, you never want to go through the second seam either. What this does is it creates a nice little path to tear the bag open should you not have anything sharp to tear one of these, because they are kind of tough. So the next thing you want to do is label them. Yes, make sure that you label your hydration mix so that when the police pull you over, they know exactly what's inside and they will believe you. So this is hydration mix. And you mix with 8 to 10 ounces water. And this way it is clearly labeled, and there's no mistake about it. So put this in your first aid kits, put this in your get-home bags, your bug-out bags, any place you can. I even keep some in the glove compartment of my truck and also in a bin in my roadside emergency kit in my truck. And yeah, believe me, if you ever get pulled over and they see a bag of white substance, they know exactly what's in it. And if they have any doubt, they just add water and give it a taste. It'll rehydrate them. Hydration mix. Mix with 8 to 10 ounces of H2O. This will save your life one day. So I'm going to get to work labeling the rest of these before... anyway. I'm Nick Pierce, the Barefoot Prepper from Are You Ready Radio, and on behalf of the Zombie Outpost. We look forward to seeing you when we open. Don't forget to check us out on Friday evenings, live on the air, for us, Sophie Printz, the Barefoot Survivalist, and me, helping you seriously think, prepare, and answer the question, are you ready? The rhythm is immutable and eternal, with no inequality possible in it. Therefore, it must come from God. The learner who is questioned moves inwardly towards God to understand immutable truth. And unless he retains in memory the same movement which once he made, the learner cannot be recalled to an apprehension of that same immutable truth without eternal